funny as a side before we begin. Just said, "Hey, y'all are my safe place. I have a question. Am I the only person who didn't know who Derrick Jaxn was before this infidelity scandal?"
Pivot Point Podcast with Nnete and Vernique.
What are you doing because you want to do it? I'm ready. So yeah,
we ready.
Money making moves.
I started speaking my mind and triple my views.
Period. She calls you.
Like, we need to pivot. We on our dream-ish.
So y'all know what that ish means. No, I'm not frozen. Hey.
Hey, welcome to the Pivot Point Podcast. It's your girl Nnete
and Vernique.
Yes, and we on that dream-ish, right?
I know what that ish is,
right? Oh, little we just savage, classy, bougie, whatever she said. I can't even think. Ratchet. Right? Bougetto. That's what I was like. I'm a little bougetto. I was at a friend's house over the weekend, and they asked after we were there for quite a while. Actually, to everybody, take your shoes off. I mean, because it was a party where people were going in and out. And I was like, okay. But, technically, when you ask people to take their shoes off, you should provide shoe covers and or socks. I'm just saying. And they were looking at me like, what? And I'm like, I'm a little bougetto. I mean, but technically, I don't know if your floors are safe or clean or.
That's hilarious.
You've never heard that?
Then I am aware. I have been places in which they have provided such. You know that the next gift that you give him or her shall be full shoe coverings.
Good. I'm not imposing. If that's what you want to do in your spot or whatever, I might just bring my own. You know what I mean? I was like, you know what? Maybe I should start just bringing some shoe covers and certain things and socks to accommodate myself. I ain't got to worry about it.
I think that makes sense. In my head, all I saw was somebody throwing it back at you like, oh, you think you're funny. So
I was
like, to be funny. It wasn't to be kind.
People, they looked at me like, oh, you funny. And I was like, I mean, just technically, I mean, if we're,
because like, that's life. Are you're so uncouth.
I'm just saying, if we gonna go all the way, let's go all the way. We can all learn from each other. I learned that from somebody else too, but I never asked people to take their shoes and stuff off. Why did I bring this up? Oh, because we're ratchet, bougie. Why? I'm like, what? How did this happen? Oh, but yeah, I never asked people to take their shoes off. I'm a person that will sweep and mop my floors.
You gotta clean the floors anyway when people leave.
Yeah, I mean, you should, because I don't know where your feet been. I don't know what fungus on your feet anyway, or your socks, because people be walking around their own dirty floors with their socks on. There's no way to get around it. I understand tracking less in, which I do. I definitely understand that. But it's so hard. But
also, people be in a whole fit. How you gonna ask me to mess up my fit? Sometimes my whole outfit is around my shoes.
Right.
But anyway. Or put it in your notes. Put it in your invite. Tell me I gotta take my shoes off.
Prepare me, please.
Exactly.
Life, it's so hard. That's been my
first world problems.
First world problem. That's what I've been saying all the time to my brother this week. I'm like, it's just so hard. Like these things, like all of these rules, and so hard. Which again, I don't know why I brought that up, but just the bougie, ratchet, cool, classy, whatever the heck.
Here we
are, man. First of all, thank everybody. I just want to thank everybody that has tuned in, watched. Yes, we're going to be on all the platforms very, very soon. This has been, I would say, a labor of love, but it doesn't feel like labor. It's just, it's fun. It's perfect. It gives me my bestie back, and it gets me talking again, and it's just perfecto. I'm so glad we're doing
back.
This.
I ain't go nowhere. So let's be clear.
You ain't go nowhere. More often now. That's what I mean. My bestie back. It's like we talk more often, because I was like, I cannot believe that I did not know that Get Up 10 was one of your favorite songs, because I've been quoting that since because we just didn't know, because life had happened, and marriage and kids and hustling in LA, like life just happened. So it's like, of course you like that song. Of course you
listen to LA R&B and rap music is different than the rest of the world. So
it is. It is. So were they playing Get Up 10 on the radio out here?
No, I just want to make fun of LA music.
I mean, it's a different.
It's the radio vibe. Let me be clear. It's the radio.
It's top 10 and it's West Coast vibes, you know what I mean? But every now and then when they would put in there, still tipping on folks, I was like, hey, you know what I mean? And they would play Paul every now and then. Yeah, and of course, Mike Jones, who back then did well.
Yeah.
I'm like, let him know. Anyway.
Yeah, the old school. I will say the old school radio, like the R&B stuff, is really good out
Oh
there.
yeah, yeah.
Old school R&B radio is really really good.
Well, that's because it's Stevie Wonder's radio station, and that's the only
Oh,
R&B station we have. It's called KJLH 102.3, if I'm not mistaken.
oh, well, tell me something.
Kindness, joy, love, and happiness.
Oh,
KJLH, Stevie Wonder station. That's why it's so good. Yeah, and so they deal with all the R&B and all the things. And actually, the afternoon drive host named Tammy Mack is from H Town.
oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
That's
So she's
cool.
always showed love. She's always been really, really cool. She's just dope. And she has a show on Fox Soul right now and stuff. And she's always booking national commercials. I mean, always. I'd be like, damn, Tammy, go and get that national commercial money, girl.
Get
Go
it,
and get
Tammy.
it, get it,
Yeah.
Tammy Mack. So much love to Tammy Mack. We got to get her on the pivot point because she's been a hustler for years. I know she went to an all-female college. I think she went to Bennett College. And
Okay.
after going to Bennett College over on the East Coast, went out to LA and was like, I'm gonna make it happen. And has been making it happen for years and
That's
still looks
cool.
like not a day over 25. And she grown.
You
Okay.
know,
Getting
you
it,
know,
getting it, getting it.
that's
So
that California sun make you look nice.
man, but you got to use some moisturizer because it will dry you out. And I totally like when I went to LA, girl, I had to like at first I was like, am I tripping? Like I started feeling
No,
like a reptile. I was like, why is my skin so dry? Why is this? I was like, is that a fine line? What is happening? And I had to upgrade all of like my lotions and everything. I had a humidifier in the room because I was like, y'all not gonna dry me out. Oh
it's
no.
that water too. I don't know something. I remember every time I would come visit you, I always leave with a patch, like a dry patch on my cheek. Because
The air is very, very
what is
dry.
going on? This dry patch, and it's so weird coming from such a humid area,
Mm-hmm.
then going to this very arid space. So yeah.
Okay, hit us early with the arid space. All right, cool. All right, all right. We're gonna do
Comes to me. It
vocabulary.
just comes to me.
Vocab with Vernique. Okay.
Nah,
Ding.
what we're not. No, because don't ask me to spell nothing.
Oh, no. We ain't got to spell it, girl. We'll just put that in post and put it on the
Yes.
screen with a little definition. We ain't got no, not on the spot. Cause I feel you. Sometimes I'll be like, ooh, I surprised myself. I'm like, oh, I read a book lately. But how's your week been? What's been going on with you?
It's good. This week has been really, really good. I just,
Mhm.
I feel like people are really like hitting me up, and I think it's that time. It's house buying season, so people are just like hitting me up
Yes.
and like, yeah, Vernique, I'm ready, and I feel
Yes.
blessed in that people who I knew, as I was in law school and just, as I was, doing my lawyer thing, like, consistently on a daily basis, that people that I knew then are, recommending people to me, like, oh, Vernique does that, so I feel good. I was like, oh, y'all know me, y'all remember me. I look out for everybody, so I appreciate y'all. So I feel
Yes.
good. This week has been really, really good. What about you?
Oh, good. This week has been good. It's been, it's been a week. Notice I didn't start off with never should have made it. I didn't have to do that there. I'm in a better place, been grounded. Things are, and life, like I'm like, you get both emotions in, both extremes in the same day, sometimes minutes apart. So I did have some difficulty, just emotionally stuff, like dealing with my, divorce. But on the bright side, which always makes me happy, as my homeboy said, he's like, money always makes you happy. And I'm like, well, I mean, it helps. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My buyer is going to be closing on Monday, their new home. And I'm
Yes.
super, super excited because I mean, just that whole even journey, like for real estate and, V knows, like you've helped me with my first purchase of my home, when I was selling that home and all of the great things and F-ish that happened along the way, in both of those transactions. And then, I had to sue my landlord in LA and
Girl.
I won. Like, I mean, don't come for me. I did not send for you. Like, I'm not the one. And so I'm passionate about it. And then, my link, which is one of my very best friends, Diana's husband, Wesley, he was like, yo, you really need to get your real estate license because you
Yep.
will just make a lot of passive income. And in LA, I just could not get it together. Like, I started the classes. It was just too much, could not focus. So to be able to go through, a divorce and be in Houston and be like, okay, we didn't cry for 3 months. Now what we gonna do? Okay, let's
Mm-hmm.
take these classes and then, get blessed with the producing opportunity for the real. And then I was like, okay, I can't even get this real estate going. And literally I talked to my team lead and my, like my mentor, And I was like, yo, I need to wait until this season is over. Then I can commit myself to real estate. It's just too much. It's too much. It's too much. I was like that Monique meme where she's on From Precious and she's like, it's too much. You know, she got I was like, it's just too much, like literally. And then the next day, I ended up getting my first client. I said, well, I guess, this is happening. It's not too much. It's like, keep going. And that's something that has really shifted for me in the past, like, 8 years. It's like, beforehand, nothing could stop me. Nothing, it was all the way up. If it's up, then it's up. Then okay. Anyway, I have been trying to learn that dance. I've been like, shoot, okay, like, okay, wait till I start busting these moves on Instagram. Okay, let me get my cardiovascular up again. But yeah, that's coming. But now being more grounded and just like, I'm unshakable. Like, you know what I mean? Like I might need to pause a moment, take care of myself, take care of my heart a little bit, take care of whatever. But it's like, nah, the show must go on forward.
Yeah. Always forward.
Always forward.
Because
really
you looked
grateful.
Yourself in the mirror. What did you look?
We gonna win.
Because you got knocked down 9 times, but
we get up 10. Hey. They gave a chick 2 options, stripping the lead. I'm like, man, I've listened to that, of course, Savage remix. Oh, and I stepped my music back up because I really wasn't listening to what I needed to listen to. Like I went from one extreme to the other, which I did used to have India Ari's I Am Light on my which I love. And it's such a good one. If you're feeling like I am song. I am light. But my ad libs were always like, a little ratchet. Like, you light, motherfucker. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You be illuminating in this whole, like, because that's what I like. But then right after I Am Light, it was Rick Ross. Young can't hold me, because I need a little bit of both in there. So, and then I had to switch to just all a little bit too much heart music. Nice, calm heart music, because I do think like the hustle of rap music is hard too. It's like, no, you gotta, it's just like the affirmations. Like you gotta talk to yourself. And however you talk, you need to talk in that language to yourself to get the ish done.
We are many things. We don't need to focus on just one.
Okay. What is it? Bougie, classy.
You go. I think it's bougie, classy, or ratchet, but I could be wrong, and ain't nobody can look up these words right now.
Megan, I have failed you, and I will represent for the Houston Hotties a lot better than this moving forward. Okay, but I have listed. I just keep it focused anyway. Moving forward, so it's been a lot of ish going on. Well, again, thanks to everybody that listened. We have not had a chance to talk about Sharon Osbourne and Sheryl Underwood. My little headphones is popping out, so excusez-moi. We just gonna keep it real and put them right back in. So I'm touching my ears so I can hear you. So the talk, Sharon Osbourne, Sheryl Underwood. Oh my goodness. Okay, so did you see everything, Vernique?
I was like, let me tell you. So I knew that this was going to be something you want to talk about. And I said, you know what? I've heard about it, in passing and things like that. But I'll be real with you. I'm tired of the Karen breakdowns. I'm tired of white women tears being weaponized against Black people. I'm over it. So I was like, I know what happened. I am very aware. I've heard. But I was like, I'm gonna let Nnete tell me so I can get my live reaction.
Okay, all good. So I'll tell y'all as much as I know and have been seeing, because I'm all about talk show stuff. Like me and my mom love talk shows. I've always loved talk shows. I want to have my own talk show. My brother say, Tay, you be talking. He was like, you be talking. So that makes sense for you. So on the talk, and I know this is a story that happened a couple weeks ago, but it is still ongoing because the talk is still on hiatus. Basically, what had happened was the fallout after the Meghan and Harry Oprah sit-down interview. Piers Morgan, basically, who is a troll from Britain, who hates Meghan Markle because he and Meghan Markle basically met up for dinner. I don't necessarily think it was an actual date. Oh, drinks, not even drinks. Okay, they met up.
I want to be clear because I meet a lot of people for drinks. I don't meet everybody for dinner.
Real talk. And I really didn't meet you for drinks. I'm a happy hour. You can just come if you want to. Like, cause I'm gonna be there, you know what I'm saying? So you're gonna be there for a couple minutes, cool, it's whatever. After their said meeting, Meghan apparently got into a ride and went on to meet Prince Harry, they move on happily ever after. She basically ghosts Piers Morgan, never contacts him again, blah, blah, blah. He has been just, unfair and nasty to her and rude and just mad. He's been big mad ever since that's happened.
From a supposed ghosting. That ain't even ghosted. That he needs to, you know what? He didn't get ghosted, but whatever.
Right. He has the right to, I guess it's like if you just don't cut off whatever, she put up a new boundary. I mean, I don't think it's bad. Like all ghosting ain't bad. Like it's been people, they ain't even know I ghosted them. Like I don't communicate with you no more. I just didn't tell you.
Yeah.
So to fast forward, even after that Meghan and Harry interview with the GOAT, Oprah, he was saying that he didn't believe Meghan Markle. He was still being nasty to her. And one of his co-hosts on Good Morning Britain, who is mixed race, his mom is white, his dad is black. And he was like, come on, we have to hear this all the time. Can you give her a break? She has the right to not want to talk to you anymore, this and that. And Piers Morgan threw a big fit. He can give his opinion, tell everybody how to live their life. But as soon as somebody tells anything to him, he gets up, storms off, leaves the show. Turns out there was over 40,000 complaints about this situation, including Miss Meghan Markle herself allegedly called in and filed a complaint because he was just basically dismissing her suicide, just dismissing her mental health, because people just don't be believing Black women. Okay, whatever, on our pain, because they think that we should be a vessel that should be able to handle everything. Strong. But he just strong, okay? Which I hate when people say with the K. That's why I just said strong. Remember that guy that I dated that said scrimp or screet? And I was like, I met him.
He said both of those.
He said both of those. And I was like, I can't go out with him anymore. I can't. I was like, oh, he really nice. Said that. From the north side. Anyway, so moving on. I was like, did he say screet? Was he being funny? He wasn't being funny. Moving on. So to bring it back, basically on the talk, Sharon Osbourne, who has been problematic for years. I've never really cared for Sharon or Kelly Osbourne, to be honest, to be fair, ever have cared for them, because to me, they're just rude and they're allowed to just be rude, and their opinion is rude and shock and whatever, right? And dismissive. So Sharon inserts herself into the business on Twitter, tweets out that, I support my friend Piers Morgan for having his opinion, inserts herself in the situation. Now, on the talk, they discuss everything. Sheryl Underwood brings up how do you feel about people that might think that you're condoning basically racist behavior? And this is when the white tears breakdown happens, and Sharon has had a million excuses since then. Now, in the breakdown, the thing that was most problematic to me, because she did say, what did he say that was racist? Educate me. Are y'all trying to say that I'm racist? Because that's the worst thing you can ever call a white person is racist, because then they're like, no, I'm not. And I think everybody has some implicit biases about other races, because stereotypes are there for a reason. You know what I mean? They're like general assumptions that we place on different groups. So we all have implicit biases. But the biggest issue that I had with Sharon Osbourne, and she was talking to Sheryl Underwood, a grown ass woman, was, and don't you start crying. Don't you even try to start crying, because if anybody should be crying, it should be me. I was like, now hold up. And Sheryl kept her composure. And she was just like, well, I don't want anyone to think that you are racist. I'm talking to you as a friend. Like, she handled herself, because, we have to. If she would have met Sharon Osbourne's energy, that would have been a whole other problem. But we, unfortunately, it just is what it is. It's the lot that we have in life. Black people, you need to stay calm and under control when you're in a situation like that, where, the other person, white woman in this situation, and in most situations where I have that issue with, they're going hysterical and being crazy. You have to stay so calm, because as soon as you meet their energy, I think you're labeled the aggressor. And Sheryl showed how to pivot from a uncomfortable conversation so eloquently, because I mean, again, she's a comedian, she's a talker. I'm telling people, y'all don't want it in a war of words with comedians and stuff. You don't, because we're just quick, you know what I mean? So what was your thoughts on everything?
So funny, I for some reason thought that there was another conversation that happened, but when you said that the show was on hiatus, I remember that now, ever since that thing came out. And then
still on hiatus.
Right, and then I read that the other Black lady with the curly hair, I can't remember her name.
She's a new host, and I cannot remember her name as well.
Her and her hairdresser also filed a complaint and said that they have had issues with racism and other things like that. So I didn't watch the video, but you know what video I did watch? I watched the one from Britain, the Good Morning Britain one, because I was curious to know like what happened. And with starting with that,
nothing. Just a Black man gave his opinion. A mixed race man gave his opinion. That was opposite of Pierce Bronson, and he threw a fit. That's all.
Morgan.
Pierce Morgan. Yeah. Pierce Bronson. Oh, not the actor. My bad. Let me take a sip of coffee. Go ahead.
But so I watched that, and the thing is that he had actually the video I watched, I think was like 3 minutes, and he actually talked for a good while. You know what pissed Pierce off was that his co-host said, she's allowed to not talk to you. Yes. That set him off and made him storm out. And so fast forward to what we're really talking about is with the whole Sharon thing, is that so I don't think it's fair to Sheryl Underwood in that she had to sit still and like, you know, let somebody finish it. I'm a kind of person,
ain't fair. And life ain't fair.
Exactly. But so it's not, but she, you know, I think that most people in that situation probably wouldn't have continued the conversation, but it's literally called The Talk. So we're going to sit here.
You're paid to talk and to give your opinion.
Right.
That's what you're paid to do.
So
which I can't wait to get paid to do that. I receive it. Y'all give it to me. Go ahead. We got to get back to that.
So I think Sheryl Underwood handled it well. I'm just saying for most people in like regular life, my pivot is I'm going to pivot my left foot and walk right on off, because we're not going to keep on having this conversation. And I'm going to say, and the thing is that, and I'm going to sit there, I might let you go through and talk how you want to talk. And then I'm going to say, one, I'm not educating you on anything. There's a million books. And I don't know if you missed past June, but they got lists for you, homegirl. So I'm gonna need you to use Google. And that would be the end of the conversation. We're not gonna keep on going back and forth. But I think that Sheryl, from what I understand, handled it very well. That's all I've heard, is how she's handled it very well.
Because she didn't give them angry Black woman, which is what people will go to if she had been upset that Sharon Osbourne said, and don't you even try to cry. She didn't even address that. That's some like, I'm not addressing this foolishness, because now you're handling her as if she is inferior to you, that your opinion or your feelings are superior to how she feels in this conversation. And Sharon, just to say, she's had a million excuses. She was like, usually, you know, we go over everything beforehand before we have these conversations live. And, you know, she said the executive producers called her and asked her, hey, can we talk to you about Pierce Morgan and what's going on with him and your insertion into that? And she said, yeah, ask me everything. And she said they thought that right, you know, so you told them to ask you anything. You didn't want to go over it, you know, necessarily. And then she said, and there was Sheryl. She was reading questions off of a card.
Even if I didn't have questions on a card, you told me to ask you whatever I wanted to. So right. Top of my head.
And so she's now like, you know, painting herself the victim. She is getting death threats, which that's whack. But unfortunately, so many people on the trolls on the internet, you know, the bad part that, you know, unfortunately we do give more attention to than the good parts, because I've done that myself. It's like, death threats, that's just whack, because it's such a mind, you know, mess up. Like, because I've gotten death threats, you know, you upset a rapper, everybody wants you to die, and it's like, you want me to die? Like, do we have to die? We can disagree without dying. I can disagree and go party with you in the club, which I've done with several people during my time at 97.9. Like that, like that's not necessary. We ain't got to do all of that.
Thumb thugging.
Thumb thugging. But I just thought that, you know, the question really is like, you know, navigating these uncomfortable conversations and how do you pivot from these? And I think that Sheryl pivoted very well by staying in her truth, staying grounded, and like, you know, I'm going to hold you to task, because it's like you're excusing bad behavior. Now, the one thing that, you know, a lot of people have been saying, and I've seen this for a while, is that, you know, educate yourself. I don't stop asking Black women and people to educate you. And I actually feel a little differently about that. The way that Sharon asked it was wrong, and demanding it as if she is the master and Sheryl got to do whatever she say, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think that. I do think that we have to teach people how to treat us. When you are a person that lives in a world where whiteness is considered rightness, you don't see, she didn't, I really think she did not see what was racist. She does not consider race, they don't quote unquote see color, all of that. So I do think that, it's not necessarily our job, but what will help make things move quicker is if in those uncomfortable moments you do take a moment to give you the information, you know what I mean, and not just dismiss them and say, well, you need to find it on yourself, this and that. So I really applaud Sheryl Underwood for saying there was nothing specific that he said that was racist. It's his overall tone of dismissing her mental health, undermining and disregarding everything she said. That in itself, his attitude towards Meghan Markle is what is racist, because that is where a lot of people, I don't know if they just playing dumb or whatever, but they're like, if you don't show it to me and explain it to me, I don't know. So here, let me tell you what it is. I think that's cool.
So I agree with you. I think that for me, there are times I think you have to evaluate who you're talking to. And so, and I am a person that too, I don't necessarily use the scenario that we're handed. So I would have said in my opinion, just, and I'm basing this off of what I know about the conversation, tell me where he was racist. And I said, I don't necessarily have to explain to you in which he was racist. What I'm saying is that if somebody who is the person that is feeling that the way that they feel, you should take into consideration that what it might be, what they're saying is correct. For example, would you allow a man to tell a person who has had babies, how you should feel when you're pregnant? No, because they don't know. He has literally no idea. So how can you, as a person who is white, tell a black person whether or not they feel disrespected because somebody has been racist towards them? You know what I'm saying? Like I try and put people in their, give them an example that they can maybe relate to. And I think that that's probably, because I agree with Cheryl's explanation. I'm just saying that to Sharon, she's like, what? I don't get it. And to me, you're never going to get it because you don't want to.
She didn't get it. Well, I don't think that she necessarily, I do think a lot of people are very ignorant. They are, because in ignorance is just that you don't know. You know what I mean? Like, to a lot of people, unfortunately, racism is if you're saying you're a nigger. And if they didn't call you a nigger, then how is it racist? You know what I mean? And so that's why I was looking at the gentleman, Emmanuel Acho. And hopefully I'm saying his last name right. Nigerians, I apologize. I failed y'all. I'm American, you know what I mean? Right. And he has the show Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man. He's the gentleman, he's a former NFL player who's also a host and an author who stepped in on The Bachelor, after the Rose conversation, because after the host of The Bachelor basically dismissed the first Black bachelorette when they were having the conversation about the contestant Rachel, who was going to plantation parties and everything. And the host Chris was just kind of like, I mean, are we looking at it a lens from 2018? Or are we looking at it from 2020? Are we this and that? Like that whole dismissiveness, that in and of itself is racist. And I really believe that, in addition, of course, they always see you Black first and a woman. You get it double edged where he was dismissing him. And that's why he's in so much quote unquote trouble, or like, let's remove him, because it's a lot of dismissiveness. And so do not miss my words. I'm not saying it is Black people's responsibility to educate white people or anybody else on what racism is. However, if you want them to learn, I think that their source should be Black people. I think that will help them have a more honest, true, and realistic, like a real life examples of what racism is. And that's why I applaud Emmanuel Acho, because it's hard to have those uncomfortable conversations.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I just also think that, for example, there's some people, I think like Mark, my husband, has said like before, like, I don't want to have to relive hard things for me so you can understand that. You know what I mean? And I think that that's fair, because I don't think that I personally have had like, slap in the face moments that were necessarily racist. Now, have I had like microaggressions and things like that? Obviously, yes. I'm a Black woman in a very white male dominated industry for over a decade. So yes, I'm very aware that those have happened to me. But that's the thing. And I also think that it's the way in which you approach it, because and it takes time, and it also matters of who you're dealing with. Who do I, because I will say, I am a person that, like, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on people I don't care about. If it is a friend I care about and I spend time with this person and I want them to be educated and I want to continue our friendship, yes, I will spend time, because I think that that's important, because we're still cultivating and things like that. But I don't care about you. I agree. Finite amount of time in my day.
I agree.
So
I absolutely agree. Yeah. Why I thought it was good that Sheryl Underwood did it is because, again, this is called The Talk. Yeah. And that's why I love that's why I like talk shows, and I like it with a diverse cast of women from different backgrounds, and so that people can learn from each other and see other things from another person's point of view. Yeah. And I do think, I mean, we have to teach people how to treat us and call people to, like, I think, it is inconvenience. I don't want to relive things, all, bad experiences. But I will say, I think why I feel the way I feel about it is because when I was in high school, I don't know if I was like 14, 15, I was going to theater camp at Stephen F. Austin University during the summer. That's what I had got my first job for. And white campus, Lubbock, Texas. The theater camp, I don't know if it was even 10% Black. It was very few of us there. And out of the 10, we were very diverse Blacks, that were there. And this white girl, Katie, I will never forget. This was my first time. The white girl, Katie, in the elevator. I mean, it was like one of those, like, what? She was like, you see, I like Black people like you, Nnete. It's Black people like, and I cannot remember the other Black girls who, she was just different. She came from the other side of the railroad track, you know what I mean? Quote unquote. Some people say she's more ghetto or she's more whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever she said, but it's Black people like her that I'm just like, and Katie had a good Black friend who was okay with this, Chason, who was very, real names. I remember those two names, like, and I feel like, I mean, that was the first time that ever happened to me. And I was so, so boldly, I was so taken aback. I like kind of froze. And I was like, what, like, wow, like I really don't even remember what I did or said after that, or if I even did anything. I feel like I just froze and I was just like, and didn't say anything. So since then, I've been having I just got to have a conversation. I feel like I am still making up for that situation now, not even making up for, like, now let's have this conversation, which I've had to also do in college. Like, my brother, I grew up in a mixed neighborhood. My brother grew up in a really more mixed neighborhood, really more white. And he was, in high school, middle school, they're dating and stuff. And he had a little girlfriend. I bought him like a little Valentine's gift to get a little girl who happened to be white. And the parents, when they found out that little nice Eddie was Black, made her give the gifts back and tell him, he couldn't, they couldn't be friends and stuff anymore. And it's like, what? You know what I mean? Like, even my senior year of high school, in the play, the musical, the yearly musical was Guys and Dolls. The lead, which I was so mad that I was just the stage manager after I had just won Best Actress for 23 5-day school district, but whatever. Okay, singing is not my wheelhouse. It's not. It's not. Okay, it's not my wheelhouse. Okay, I know I got the voice. Talking, not singing. Moving on. The leads was a white guy and a Black woman. And in this musical, there's one kiss. The white guy refused to kiss the Black girl, and they did not recast it. Yeah. So it's like, these are themes that I've dealt with my entire life and had to have these uncomfortable conversations. And I'm like, that's racist.
Yeah.
The basketball friend who, like, hey, you're great. And, we're all cool. You're a white girl, you cool. Everything's great until you get pregnant by the Black guy. Your parents ain't even, they're upset that you're pregnant, but they're really upset that he's the Black guy. You know what I mean? It's like, but wait a minute, we done traveled. We've been playing together for like 3 or 4 years. Why did everything just change? So it's like, this has been a recurring theme of these uncomfortable conversations. The white girl in my 20s that only hung out with Black women pretty much, and pretty much dated Black men, tried to tell me that I was racist because I was telling my brother, like, like that, he, date whomever, and also understand that when you're dating outside of your race, you're gonna have some pushback. And she told me I was racist, even though she was the one that only dated Black guys, and she was like the starter the starter white guy, a white girl for a lot of Black. I was like, what is going on here? So
let me ask you this. So that, because to me, that situation makes me, I'll give an example. Like my son, like he was in a high school that was very, very white. Like he told us that kids wore Confederate flag t-shirts to school. Yeah. And we had
I had that growing up too.
So, but you know what my solution was? I said, you know what we're not going to do is stay over here and make you feel uncomfortable. He never said he was uncomfortable, but at the same time, you were in ninth grade, and you still got 4 more years in this situation. You know what I mean? And my solution to that was, what we're going to do is find another high school that's more diverse. And I was like, we can spend time educating people and stuff like that. I was like, I ain't got time for PTO. Okay. You know what I have time for? Making sure he's safe and he feels comfortable. And then he doesn't have to think, like, because we know what kind of schools end up with shootings. He doesn't have to think about that all the time. Right. And so we sold our house and brought him to a school that's more diverse. And so, but I know that that's not everybody's, not everybody can do.
That's not their solution. That's not always their option. And I think that it's also, I think what you did was good for him, because I do have a friend right now that wants to, get her son in a better school. But right now she's keeping him in an area that is more Black, because she wants him to be very grounded in who he is as a Black man and not have to deal with all of those things until he is very grounded into who he is before she integrates him more. And so I understand that. But I do think I think me having all of these experiences is what makes me easier. It makes it easier for me to work with a lot of different people, to put up my boundaries, to be able to speak my mind freely and have those uncomfortable conversations, because they're not going to leave you. I can say that depends on what you do in life and how you choose to work. Because now you can just work in your own circle with your own people. Yeah. But I'm a person that I like diversity. I really, really do.
And so here's the thing. To me, an all-white school is not diverse.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? So
I absolutely agree.
And so the diversity, the school that he goes to now is very similar to my high school in diversity, in that we had a spectrum of people. We had all kinds of people,
It's kind of like University of Houston, because University of Houston is a majority minority, which is stupid, because if the majorities are quote unquote minorities, then we're not the minorities. We're just non-white. But,
so the University of Houston was the #1 most diverse college in the nation. And that's exactly how my high school was. A lot of people from my high school actually went to U of H. So, but
go Cougs. I didn't go to your high school, but go Cougs.
Yeah. We were Cougars at high school too.
Really? So girl, you've been a Cougar your whole life, huh? So ain't nothing gonna change when you get older.
Yeah. So I'm very aware of, I'm very much, I can work with a lot of people, do all kinds of stuff. But so that's what my whole thing is that I don't necessarily think that, my point is diversity is good. That's all. Yeah. I think that makes a difference in how you grow up and how you assimilate to the world.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree. Diversity is good. I've always said that there's not going to be a change in America until our legislation reflects that. The people in Congress reflect that. Yeah, it needs, we're not what they used to say, America is the melting pot. No, we're a salad bowl. We're a mix of greens and tomatoes and cucumbers and all of these different rich cultures and languages and traditions that come in to make, to me, that's what makes America great.
I like
that. The people, it's a mixture, and that's how you get the great fusion foods, and you get just the different things that when you bring these cultures together and you bring these different people together, it's like, oh, okay, I like that over there, I like this over there, and you get just different people celebrating each other and learning from each other. So
I like that salad bowl, because I like, that's a good analogy.
Yeah. We're a salad bowl. I forgot. I think I college or something a few years ago. Okay, so now we have to talk about this guy, a relationship guru, expert.
All the air quotes.
Derrick Jaxn, who recently confessed that he has been cheating on his wife. So were you familiar with Derrick Jaxn before we break down the story, or how much of Derrick Jaxn do you know, Vernique?
So not at all familiar with who this guy was until I kept seeing memes about him on the internet. So the memes were taking me out. And then, or people were recreating videos of him, which were funny. So I didn't see a video of him until I looked up specifically what's going on with this Derrick Jaxn guy. No clue who he was until I knew that he was cheating on his wife. And the video he did to announce that he was cheating on his wife is the most cringeworthy video I have watched in a very long time.
Oh, every time the cheated on wife is standing next to the cheating husband and listening to him explain and looking with compassion and or fear, or just, just she there, she's like, we in here, this is happening. I always cringe.
But
So just to catch everybody up who does not know, because we have friends who didn't know. Or do you want to go ahead? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I just want to add, most times that video happens and that interview of said man happens, that woman looks nice and put together. Homegirl had a bonnet on and a t-shirt, bro. And I was
Well,
like, what is going on?
well, two things that comes from that. One, he said it was a hat, not a bonnet. Just I don't agree. Like, okay, I'm like the story gets more ridiculous. Two, it was somewhere else because it's been stuff all over the place that he said that was her like her godly head covering
Girl,
from, yeah, I mean, I can't make this up. I can't make this up. And I was like, wow, okay,
if
so
that's somebody's
you got to
religion, I'm
cover her
sorry.
head.
I'm sorry if that's somebody's way of life, and I don't mean to disrespect you. I just, it looked like a bonnet to me.
I'm not disrespecting anything. He disrespected her, and if you more disrespected by me talking about she had on a godly head covering than the fact that this quote unquote Christian relationship guru was cheating on his wife and just selling dreams and hopes and dreams. So basically, for those who don't know, okay, Derrick Jaxn is a was a still is a
He
scammer.
still
Okay,
is.
relationship
Oh,
a
don't
scamming
call him
ass
Joanne.
relationship expert. And basically he was pandering to Black women who want, that good guy, tall, dark, handsome. He's telling the quote unquote truth. He's holding men accountable, saying no to toxic relationships, telling women to know their self-worth. Look, telling all the women but his wife, you know what I mean? That it sold lots of books. I think he
Oh,
has a
did he?
million plus. Oh yeah, because I looked on
Okay.
Amazon. I
Come
was like,
on,
people really
books.
buying these books. Okay, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you can create a personality. You can. Okay, let's go moving forward. So this guy also sold books, had like a million plus followers on, I think, Instagram or social media. Basically, spoken at the Essence Festival full of Black women. Most women did. I'm not sure how many years he's been doing this, but most women did not even know he was married until this cheating scandal just broke, where the mistress actually spoke out to YouTube blogger Tasha K, and like
Okay.
gave all the tea. And so then at
Oh,
first it was like, oh, it's just one cheater, one situation. No, it's like multiple cheating situations. And then more to be revealed. Turns out guy has been cheating since, because him and his wife have been together, I think, since like high school or college. So they've been together for like
yeah.
14 years. On her social media, you have her always talking about him and showing reverence, because Tasha K went through it. Like she broke it down. You know what I mean? You got some time, just watch. I watch everything. I speed everything up as I watch stuff because I don't have time, but I need to know what's going on. He never really referred to his wife on his page because he's keeping up a brand and an image, the whole nine. And then also what's recently was shown on her page, I guess within the past year, is that she basically coped with his cheating through Christianity and praying and believing. I saw you kind of half roll your eyes. I saw that eye
I
shift.
tried
I
not
saw
to
that.
because it
I
was
saw
not.
that eye shift. I see it in your eyes. I see it in your eyes. Um,
That's how people cope. People have different coping mechanisms, and
yes.
that was her choice. So
Yes. So, okay, so much to unpack here, but this is the Pivot Point podcast. So, my question, because I've never taken relationship advice from him or really any of the guy experts.
no, because they're men.
Well, men,
Why would I
no,
listen to
that's
a
not
man?
true. I'm not going to say I have not taken it from all of them because Steve Harvey had his run on what is it? Think like a man, act like a lady, think like a man, whichever way that
Mm-hmm.
goes. Which with Steve, I'm not making excuses because he's our frat brother and he's a comedian and I just admire his career. But what I liked is that in the book he was straight up honest about his mistakes and his marriages and his cheating, and the fact that he wrote this because he saw his daughter getting played, not Lori Harvey, one of the twins. That is why he wrote the book. He was
that's good.
He seen some dude at the house and he was like, oh man, this dude over here running this game that I used to run on my other wives and her mama and stuff. Let me go ahead and just start hitting my daughter to game. And
you gotta start him early.
Yeah, he started him early. He was like, yeah, this was like in college. He just saw that guy come through and was like, oh, I don't know, this is what's going down. And I think is it Greg Bernhardt? I might be wrong. I think he was one of the producers or one of the writers or influencers of Sex in the City. He had the book, He's Just Not That Into You. And I remember that, like that one actually funny. I read that book. I remember the week of your brother's wedding. And the guy that I was talking to at that time, like after I read it, I employed some of the things, or just, you know, I was like, well, I'm not going to be spending all my time with this guy, and he doesn't want to call me a girlfriend, and he doesn't want to call me, like, this isn't anything but my time. And that weekend, like, we stopped, quote unquote, talking, which was like all confusing. My mom was like, what is talking?
What is talking?
Either your boyfriend, which means nothing. He is your fiance, which means, okay, you are going to do marriage, but he's still nothing. Or he is your husband, which if he messes up, he's nothing. Like, it don't matter. Like, she's like, what are y'all doing? This is why y'all single. Like, she gave me and my girl J Real, like, this is why you young. She's like, this is why y'all are single. What is talking?
See, that seems like the people you should be taking advice from. I'm saying, like, people who actually know what it is.
But she grew up in a different time and in Nigeria. Both of my grandfathers are polygamists. We were polygamists. Yeah. There's layers to a lot of things. But go ahead, please.
So I think the thing is that, and this is why they talk about so much about imparting wisdom on your kids early, because you basically lose that ability to do that at a certain age. You know what I mean? Because you start listening to your homegirls, you start listening to your homeboys, you know, and then you just get all emotional, and you know, you change, and you think your parents.
I be feeling, man. I be feeling, you know what I'm saying? I be feeling.
Yeah, these 16-year-olds don't be wanting to talk to their parents, man. So, like, you know.
But also the parents don't be wanting to talk to the 16-year-olds.
I think that's fair.
My talk was, don't have sex.
Oh, that's cute. Mine was don't get pregnant. So she skipped all of that. She said, don't get pregnant. I know you're going
to be having sex. Well, at least she was realistic. You're going to be having sex. I didn't even
have sex in high school. That's the funny part. So that's like, you know.
No judgment.
No judgment on anybody, but I'm just saying, like, I think that goes to my point, right? It goes to my point of who you're listening to, what you're doing, because it's like you still moving around doing things you ain't supposed to do in high school, and so that's why you
don't get caught if you have great grades. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and so that's the thing, is that you they talk about how much you have to impart upon them, and I think that, like, Mark does a good job about, like, I'm gonna hip you the game early. You know, he doesn't, I mean, Addison is 3, so he ain't hipping her to no game at the time, but he's always saying, like, he's like getting ready, like he waiting for her to be like 5 and talking about she like, you know, Dominique or whoever down the street, you know what I'm saying? So he can just start like, nah, let me tell you, you know? And so, so the thing is that you start listening to advice from the people you're around, but you're also, you know, and those are generally people who are your same age.
Yeah.
You never think in your 20s, let me ask some grown people who've been married a long time, what kind of advice or who should I be looking for?
And you might not even have that around you too. You might not even have access to it. So, you know, I've had the thirst of knowledge. So I'm always looking at a book. I'm like, put it in a book, let a sister know. Like, I'm always like, I hunger for knowledge, because if I don't know and I feel like uncomfortable, because some of the things is like, I don't want to really talk about that with my mom. And I didn't, you know, have an older enough sister or sibling to like be able to have that conversation with.
Right.
So, I mean, back then, who were you listening to?
So I don't necessarily know if I'm a good example,
because I definitely silence.
I do move in silence. Nnete knows. I listen a lot. I don't necessarily ask a lot of questions as it relates to like relationships, because I may not know a question to ask, right? Like I may not know what to ask.
Yeah.
And so I would just listen to my homegirls, listen to my friends. My mom is a Jamaican woman who is very to the point, who was like, if you don't like it, leave. If you don't like him, leave.
That's my mom and them too. Yeah, so, leave. Like, you don't gotta deal with that. Which is really good, because a lot of other women and tell their daughters, I mean, stay, don't
and
leave.
work
This
it
is
out.
what it is.
Yeah.
This is a part
Yeah.
of being a woman, and you just got
Be
to
strong.
deal with everything. Your strength is in how much pain you can deal with to keep your family unit together.
Yeah.
And I think that's very sad too. It's like
So,
you
but
lose who you are to sacrifice for your family.
wholeheartedly, and I think that's a whole nother show for a whole nother day.
And we'll talk about that too.
And we'll talk about that.
Mhm.
But here is the I think the issue with my mom's advice, and now she's changed now. But there is no communication before leave. So all I did was, oh, I don't like it, I'm out. Like, I ain't dealing with it, I'm gone. Now, granted, did I go back? If I didn't like something, like I would leave. I'm like, I'm done, I'm gone. But there was no communication as to what I didn't like. What do I expect in the future? What was it that he did that did not make me feel comfortable? None of that existed. It was just like, I don't like it, therefore I am leaving. And so nothing ever got resolved. And so we ping-ponging back and forth and never resolving anything or figuring out what makes me feel good as a person.
Right. Well, for me back in the day, I would say, I mean, definitely books and everything is what I would kind of like gravitate to when I really started dating. First of all, early in my 20s, I was so career focused, and it was like I had these little flings and these little things, but it was never like, oh, I think I met my husband. Like I never really had that in my 20s, because and then the type of the caliber of people that we were around is like, we know real movers and shakers that are really making things move. It's like, I only have so much time and energy to allot to this silliness and this foolishness, because I have a larger vision for my life. I mean, it just was. And I was like,
I'm laughing at who I
don't.
ended up dating because of this, but yes, you're right.
I mean, a lot of things to laugh about, because it's like, I'm not even looking at you for that. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, cool. Like I got a couple needs, and we're gonna keep it moving.
Well, let me ask you this, because back in the day, I did the research for my other podcast. Back in the day, people dated with purpose. They dated with the intent to marry. I feel like when we were in our 20s, that is at least for me, and I know for pretty much for you, we weren't saying, "Oh, this is my husband." Like we were dating to have fun. We were dating and like. Oh, okay. For me, no, I was dating. I was chilling. Like I wasn't looking
always
at husbands.
Because it's very family, husband, family. I'm a Cancer. The family unit, home is the most important thing. I had success very young, which I'm grateful for. It does not keep you warm at night. It fulfills only a portion of me, and I really want a family. I really want children. I really want all of that. So for me, I'm always open. Now, I can't say as you squared me off before, like when I tell you said a lot of things like on way you like to date, but then you would do something different. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm like, I got a lot of time to fill. You know what I'm saying? Like I got, I'm sneaking out in the middle of the night too. So put it like this, mentally, I'm always dating with purpose. My actions were not aligned with my purpose, because I was like, well, until the guy that is worthy enough for me to take seriously, I mean, I'm gonna be out here, you know what I'm saying, these streets
Fun.
back open in Texas, man. Back open. Just in the meantime, in between time. So
I mean, to me, that makes sense.
A little bit of a contradictory, but at the same time, it's like, who to, as I'm really learning who to take serious and who not to take serious.
Yeah. So funny. I always wanted kids. I never thought I wanted to, and it didn't occur to me that a man should come with said kids. So
really?
No, really? I wanted my bomb house in the woods with glass where I could see the trees and some kids. I never in my vision saw a man there.
Do you think it's because, like, for instance, for me, I grew up with my parents, but my family, my parents are still together. I was a decision, which is why some people say my self-esteem is a little too high. I was like, look, man, my daddy and my mama wanted me. I know my daddy, he's in the other room right now. We talk. If something go down, I can call my daddy or my brother. Like, I'm protected. I have men who look out for me. I know all of those things, which this guy told me. See, you know what your problem is, Tay? You've had too many examples of good relationships. I was like, what kind of pimp mind kind of effery is this going on right now?
It's gonna work.
I mean, yeah, and it didn't, because I'm like, I just be calling BS on a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? Because it's like, that's their BS. And so I know I don't have to tolerate certain things, and it's not being unrealistic. It's like having standards. And I think that unfortunately, for women, you're always, especially Black women, lower your standards, compromise, you want too much, you doing too much, you're not worthy of it. Like just there's just a lot of gaslighting that has been happening to Black women for years, especially in the Black community. Yeah, because of relationship experts, because of, unfortunately, systemic racism, where Black women have had to become the breadwinners in their home because the Black men are being locked up in jail. They're not given the same opportunities to earn. There's a lot of things, and I'm just always like, I mean, a part of it is what it is. And now what we gonna do about it? You know, how are we gonna choose? That doesn't mean that you have to only date a Black man. That doesn't mean that you know, all Black men are horrible. They're, you know, like, you have to decide what you want for yourself and stick to that. Because even in my situation, it's like, you know, it's like at the time when you're making certain decisions, you don't see them as settling. You know what I mean? You know, you don't, like, you see them as, okay, well, okay, I was doing it this way for so many years. And so maybe, you know, maybe I can compromise on this, or I can it's not even compromise. Let me be a little bit more flexible. You know what I'm saying? Like, you start
call it something different.
Yeah, you call it something different because you're rationalizing, like, this person might have a good heart or a decent heart, but let me just, you know, let me try to work with them, because we're also encouraged to work with the Black man a lot, and to work with, you know, you got to work with these men, and you got to do this with these men. And I was like, well, you know, maybe, shit, girl, you're getting older. Maybe you are, like, just being too tough. And it's like, no, because the heart and the core of me, as my friend said, you see, you're just greatness. You know what I mean? So it's going to be hard. And I've had a couple of guys tell me it's going to be hard, because if a man is not great, you're not going to respect him.
So here's the thing. I push back on hard. What happened, girl? We need to discuss.
Go ahead, please.
What?
Go ahead.
So I push back on anything being hard. Nothing is difficult unless you call it such, right? And
Speak to me, sis. Speak to me.
Nothing is hard unless you call it such. And so for me, I feel like you have to, you said it earlier, one, you have to decide what works for you. And I think that that's what my pivot was, right? Like my pivot in relationship, listening to relationship advice, or just consuming certain information. I think I don't know if I told my story, but Mark and I were together when I was in law school. We were together for 3 years. At the 1.5 year mark, we got engaged. After I started working and stuff like that, I let society tell me I should be living a certain way. The reality is that at the time, Mark was still trying to finish college and stuff like that. And so society says, you're a lawyer. What are you doing with somebody who hasn't even finished college, you know? And society also will tell you, like, you should be living a certain way. You're a lawyer. The reality is I graduated law school at the height of the financial crisis. Everybody that I graduated with, most people that I graduated with who were getting big firm jobs were deferred for a year or two, and they gave them 10 grand for a year. What you gonna do with 10 grand? What you gonna do with 10 grand for a year, a whole year?
Sit at your mama house?
And so, you know, that's the reality. But in my mind, I said, oh, I'm a lawyer. I should be living this way. Also, the reality is we're paying 2 rents because I had sublet an apartment somewhere else and then had to move and all stuff like that. So money was tight. So in my head, I had let society tell me I should be living a certain way. I was unhappy with myself and then unhappy with the relationship, even though on the inside, Mark made me feel really good. Like I felt good. I've always felt good with him. And so, but I think I let overridden by what I thought should be my relationship. And so we broke up. We broke up for 5 years. During that time, I did all the things that society said I should be doing. I should be dating guys with money. I should be going on trips. I should be doing all these things. But here's the thing. If it ain't my money and I'm not controlling the investments, what difference does it make? If I'm going on trips with people I don't like, who cares? So like, you know, that's what it boils down to. And so when Mark reached back out to me, it was a closure text. People like, what happened? Long story short,
5 years later,
5 years later, we had never spoken. Had not spoken one word to each other in 5 years. He reached out to me to text me, and within a month we had moved in together, and within that next year we were married. And I have never, best decision of my life. I always say I'm a happiness decision maker. And so, and ever since then, like, it's just one of those things. It's like society told me X, society told me Y, and I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with V. I'm gonna go with what V says and what V feels like is good. And you know, everybody knows in their heart what they want, even if it doesn't go with what.
Go ahead. I'm not necessarily disagreeing. The it wasn't a disagreement. It was a thought. Go ahead. I'm coming back to that.
I think that if you sit with yourself quietly sit with yourself and really break down. You can even write down what it is that you want. I bet you the thing that you want, say, I'll give you an example. Say you want money, you want a man with money or a woman with money, whatever the case is that you're looking for. Why do you want money? It's not the money you want, it's the security you want, it's the flexibility you want.
Keep beating on that desk, girl. Keep beating on that desk, okay?
It's those things that you want. So the thing is that if you sit with yourself, you can realize what it is that you want. Because you know what I'm saying? And then there's people who, no, money is not their number one on their list. You know, so it's something else. You know, love, compassion, feeling secure.
Love,
you know,
don't pay the bills, but go ahead.
It doesn't, but I think that it makes you know whether it does. See, but that's the thing. Your number one is if your number one, if your number one is love, it doesn't matter if it pays the bills or not.
You see, and that's where because I agree with everything you just said. I agree with everything that you said. And, you know, first of all, you said, I think if you sit with yourself and really examine what it is that I want, that's problem number one. A lot of times we're not sitting with ourselves and really examining what we want, or going back to said examination. Because even when I was going through one of my, like, oh my gosh, foolishness, I shouldn't have been messing, whatever. I was going through some things, you know, clearing out some stuff, trying to make way for new things. And I was just, you know, Vernique was like, well, what do you want? What do you want? And what else? And what else? And what else? And then unbeknownst to me, Vernique had been typing out everything I said that I wanted in a man. Everything, and emailed it to me and was like, this is what you said you wanted, so this is your guide. And you see what had happened is like, I thought I was referring to that list, but I had moved some things around, you know what I mean? And I honestly did feel like, you know, I'm gonna get money, okay? I'm gonna stay getting money.
Yes.
So I did not think it was that important that a mate of mine could get money too, even though I had it in my list that I needed a guy who was financially stable and secure in and of himself. Because like, for me, money is freedom. Money is options. Money is, to me, is really spiritual as well. It's about alignment and knowing abundance and knowing that, you know, we come from the same thing as the trees, earth, air, fire, water, in the words of India Ari. That's how I know that God, however you label the universe, whatever, is real. And that I come from these same things. So what I want, like, I can will my way into anything. And so really it's like, oh, Tay, you need mindset. That's what you need, you know. So now all I keep saying is mindset, because for me,
you need a man with the mindset,
the man with the mindset, okay. Exactly. So because the mindset is what manifests everything else. Is if you have that mindset, we're not going to have issues with money. If we have that mindset, you know what I mean, we're not going to have certain type of issues if our mindsets are aligned. Put it like that, because I mean, when you say you want love first, to me, love is a verb. Love is action. Love is, you know, security. Security means our money is together. You know what I'm saying?
For you.
For me. Well, you see, here's the thing. I think it's for most people, but most people are scared to talk about money. Now, when I say money, I am not always saying, because that's what always, you know, certain people go to the extremes. I'm not saying everybody has to be a multimillionaire.
Right.
I tell you, most marriages fail because of money.
Oh, most
and
definitely.
It's a lack of conversation from. So when I'm saying security, like, I want everybody, and we need to, we're going to have an episode on money and pivoting with your money and your relationship with your money. I need everybody to get real comfortable about talking about money. You know, back in the day, I wanted to be like the Black Susie Orman, you know, and I have the Black ladies I listen to now, the Budgetnista, Lynn Richardson. I need everybody to get real comfortable about talking about money. Because if you're not comfortable about talking about money, you ain't going to have no money. You're just not going to have any. And you need to be very comfortable talking about money with your mate. Whoever you're going to be, like, what is the lifestyle you want? You know what I mean? When you're scratching and surviving in LA, because like I went from doing very, very well to like, yo, I'm hustling. And I, you know, I'm humble. I can be humble. I'm a tour guide at Universal Studios, which I really enjoy. They helped me develop so much as an actress, but also I'm a tour guide at Universal Studio, giving tours. I'm driving Uber, I'm driving Lyft, which in LA, we're all just driving each other around for a check and to pay our gas bill. Like, I'm an Airbnb host. I'm doing all the things. I did taxes for 2 days in Compton. Like, I'm going to do what I need to do to handle business. But, you know, when people say money ain't important, they've either never made enough money. I mean, I'm just saying, if you can't get your bills paid, if you are stressed out living check to check,
oh yeah,
like that
no,
is
we're
what
on the
kills
same
most
page.
marriages. Yeah. So
We're on the
go
same
ahead.
page with the
Yeah.
money, with the money thing. I think
Yeah.
that what I'm saying is that, especially because, like, I guess for me, Mark always had a hustler's mindset. Mark was going to get it done, period. Like he
It's
was
the
going to work.
mindset. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but I also think that, and then there's different people, different, because some women are okay with somebody that doesn't do that for them. You know what I mean? And so I'm not that person, but that's okay. So that's why I said
I will say this, and it might be controversial. Most women are not okay with that. We try to convince ourselves that we're okay with that, or you're controlling, because it's a back and forth. Well, I mean, I just
you
think
got to
most
remember who
women
you
are
hang
not.
around with. Think about who you hang around with versus
Okay.
who these people. There's people in this world that are okay with this.
Or they
I'm
feel
not
like
talking
that's
about my
all they have
friends.
to deal with, or they
I'm
feel
not
like
talking.
that's all they have.
But
That's
see,
all
I
they
think
can
that's a
do.
societal. I think that is a society. I could go down the. I have a whole, like, society told me X, and I think that that's a societal thing, because I think that we have been conditioned to think that men should provide in a certain kind of way, and so I think that that's why you are probably saying it in that way. And I'm not taking away your truth, right? I'm just saying that I believe I haven't met anybody like this personally, but I know that there are people out there, women who just like, I don't care. Like, I just want to be loved. Hell, I just want a man, because there are women out here whose men don't take care of their kids, and she's just like, I just want a man who's going to take care of these kids.
Let me say this. I do have a group of friends, but here's the funny part, that you're like, they don't care about the money, but both of them make a lot of money. The woman might make a little bit more, but the guy still makes a lot of money.
Yes.
And the guy is secure in himself. So those situations I'm not talking about, because I had to break down one of my friends with that too. Like, that's not what I'm talking about, where both people are secure in who they are and they earn the money that they earn. It's like you have situations where, because the women are always telling, man, you just got to work with him a little bit and help him out, invest in his dream, doing these things, subconsciously, like I was not putting myself first. Ain't nobody asked me, but I want to support, you know what I mean? And we're just not being honest about people's, not only say people's capabilities, but what's most important to us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, and all of that too. Like, just like saying, well, you know what, maybe see, I had to see that, okay, my hypothesis is correct. I do need somebody that can get it financially, because for me, it's just not going to work if our mindsets aren't aligned when it comes to money and being able to get it. It's just not going to work. And I thought that it could work, but it's just not going to work for me.
Before we go, because I know we got to wrap up, but
we got to wrap up, but we got a couple more things, because I want to go back to that list.
When did you pivot?
The pivot really happened, which is what I was going to go to. So thank you to get me back online. Well, first of all, that list. Okay, when you get your list, go back to your list and see what's really like. Because I thought I had all the things, because I thought that I had really, like, okay, I mean, the money thing, as long as I make money, I'll be fine. But it's not, because I do think resentment will always come in if you're not being true to what's really, really important to you, because you will be exhausted. And if, like for me, I need to know that I don't want to have all the solutions. I want a man that has solutions. Tell me what to do, not on everything, but like, I want to be able to not think. I've always had to think. I've always had to, I mean, I've been the head of my own life for so long. And like, it would be so nice to rest in like my boo got it. Like, I'm good. I'm Gucci. I'm good.
That's a big thing for women.
Yeah. Like,
that's a big thing for women who are, who live there, who are leaders in whatever industry they are in. They want to come home and relax and not have to think about, have answers to everything.
Yes. I want to straight up, and guys, they laugh when I say this, because they're like, you for real? Yeah, I want to have me some kids and just raise my kids for a couple years and know that all the bills gonna be paid. And that's, I'm gonna always get money. I mean, we got real estate licenses. We gonna always find a way, start a mommy blog, whatever the heck, to bring in. But I don't want the financial responsibility of a marriage that I'm in, or any relationship, to always only be on me. Now, I'm all about, like, yo, if we got to do this and focus in for a year for the big payoff, the big payoff has to come. But when I saw, like, oh, this payoff, this is never gonna come. This is like, what in the hell is going on? Like, that's overwhelming. My pivot to wrap this up really came when after I left. When I left, and I was literally on all my bridesmaids gave me this happy hour Zoom where they let me cry and yell for like 4 or 5 hours. And then I did the same thing afterwards with my brother, scream, yell, cry, do whatever I had. Because when I was telling, just talking to y'all about everything, there was a huge difference in my bridesmaids that were married in happy marriages with husbands that I respect and my single bridesmaids. And then I realized the things that I was telling my married bridesmaids versus my single bridesmaids. And they were different stories because a lot of times, when you're in a relationship, you want to protect the guy you're with, especially if you're not in a ready to leave, and you might be embarrassed about certain things. So it's like, I only want to highlight him in the most positive way. So I was like, oh, because the faces for the married bridesmaids about some of the things I was saying was like, bitch, you ain't never said that shit before. Versus the single one, like,
you mean my face?
Yeah. Your face, Nnete face, Diana's face was like, well, hold up. Like, when did this have, like, literally it was like, what is going on? Versus the single ones are like, yeah, girl, I dealt with, it was just different. And so my pivot and what I've learned and what I'm taking moving forward, and I've talked to almost all of y'all husbands too, is like, my pivot is, I'm now with relationship things, I'm talking to my homegirls, because all my friends have been friends for 20 years plus. My very closest homegirls who are married in their marriage and their husbands. Like, that is who I am going to for advice, because they know me at every stage. They know the Tay 20 years ago, all the journeys and the things in between, because again, these men have been around for years as well too.
That's true, yeah.
So they've seen some of the knuckleheads, they've come back. You don't even know, me and Mark had a very, very, like, he had we just had a really, really good conversation about everything. And where he shared with me that you were really, really concerned about my relationship when you had came to visit and stuff. And and I was just like, yeah, and I wasn't, and I was like, that's when I was telling him too. It's like, back then you're just not as, you don't realize how not really completely fully honest you're disclosing, because and then you also get the society thing, don't be having all your friends and your business and and ladies, let me tell y'all this now. And because YouTube and Google be spying on these conversations. So my recommendations on YouTube have been like, bitch, get your life. You know what I mean? And so all kind of stuff be popping up. And one of them was from, of course, the GOAT, Oprah Winfrey show with Dr. Robin. I can't think of her last name now, but she was the therapist that was on Oprah all the time, that had the flipped hair, which she just did an episode of The Real. And she was like, if there is anything, first of all, you need to have a council of women, a council that is your crew that you can tell everything to. So if there's anything that you don't want to tell one of those women that you really trust, that's already a problem. First of all,
I agree.
It's a problem. You need to talk to them, and you need to be able to keep it real with them, and I was like, and I did not do that. So that's why I'm like, I look at my part in everything. And I was like, and I've had that individual conversation with you and all of my, all of my girls, my crew. Like, I will always be honest. You couldn't help me if I wasn't being honest. Like, I'm acting like things are cool, and your friends are going to respect, they're like, well, shoot, you spend the most time with them. How am I going to come all the way to LA and judge what you got going on? You make good decisions for your life. You know what I mean? So it was like, it was it was a beautiful nightmare that that was happening.
But you learn so much. You do learn so much. Yeah, good for you. Good for you.
You were saying I learned so much. I was just like, well, that was my pivot. Go ahead.
I just think that you just learn something. What ends up happening is that you end up in every situation. I always try to find the silver lining, and in the middle of it, it sucks. It sucks. It really feels uncomfortable. But you end up looking back on it. You made it through. 2, you know who you are and what you want. So I just feel like you ended up. It sucked, but now you are on a so much brighter path. So it's a blessing.
Yeah, and I think I'm finally at the point where there's no regrets. Finally, because it's like, we were both in that relationship doing the best we can. And doing, and with the best of intentions. That's why even like with love, love is an action verb, and we have to work on loving ourselves. And when we're truly loving ourselves, then you can show up to be who you authentically are in any relationship. And you won't need to go to, scammers like Derrick Jaxn and all these because my thing with him as well is that he never really showed a lot about his life. The fact you didn't even know he had a marriage. That's why with Steve, I was like, well, shit, Steve is telling y'all he on his 3rd, 4th wife, and he used to do this and that, and what he's doing for his daughter. And in the Greg Bernhardt book, he's just not that into you. He was keeping it real too. Like, and then as my girl J Real would always say, hey man, you never got to tell a man to do what he want to do.
Listen.
And if you're ever confused about it, that he didn't want to do that. And like, Steve said, like, yo, when that man wants you, he gonna let you know that he wants you, and he gonna let everybody else know this is mine. Period. So when
I would agree with that. So
yeah,
I don't know what to say. I would agree with that.
Exactly. And then you have to decide for yourself. And like you said, when you get down and you sit and you be quiet and you be honest, like it's just a lot of things that we all, can do to just be more honest with ourselves, to take care of ourselves. And I do think it starts from that self-love, that self-clarity, having your crew. I don't care. I'm really been blessed in the area of sisterhood. Like even for my birthday last year, my girls, when I was like, yo, I'm getting divorced, I'm hating everything right now, they came together, and was like, nah, we about to love on you, sis. Like we're gonna love you back to life and let us show you who we know you to be. You know what I mean?
They sound cool.
Yeah. Y'all all right? You know what I'm saying?
They sound cool.
Y'all all right. But also in that, you need those people when you're in your relationships to tell you the truth of who you are when you weren't in this place and thinking of all those like but this and but that. They like those little whispers, okay, but girl, I know you to be this and I know you to be that. And a couple of my really good friends are therapists as well, so I think that's another person that you should turn to. And I think everybody should go to therapy personally, if not for anything, especially if you don't have a good council of people around you, you don't have those friendships or anything yet, or you're working on developing, is that with a therapist, I'm like, that is your place to be 100% honest. You paying them. Yeah. And there's a lot of free services as well too.
Oh yeah.
You can say everything you need to say to get to what you need to do for yourself. The nitty gritty. Yeah. I know we got to go. I just, I had to.
No, we needed that little bit. We need that little bit. Well,
I should put a little liquor in the coffee. You know what I mean? Made a little.
It is. Oh, well, that story about our Baileys and coffee back in the day. But anyway.
Whoa. What story? Was I part of it?
You were. I'll tell you later.
Okay. We'll have to do a Patreon. Look, I know we do need to start a Patreon. Look, it's so much stuff I just don't be remembering. It was 8 years in LA, in LA, medicinal is very legal, and I'm getting my brain cells back. I'm getting them back. Hey, but yeah, please tell us, how do you pivot in uncomfortable conversations when people, are acting out and you need to take control of the conversation? Also, like, who do you get your relationship advice from? Back then versus now, lessons you learned or whatever. Put them all in the comments everywhere that we post this. We're going to get everything together. Vernique already has pushed us forward in creating a nice little email for us, right?
Hey, yeah. pivotpointpod@gmail.com. That's pivotpointpod@gmail.com. Hit us up. You can comment. Hey, give us comments, suggestions, ideas, all that.
All that good stuff, people we should talk to, because we do have a list of people that we're going to be bringing on, interviewing, and just sharing their journeys, as well as dealing with all the latest topics and how we would pivot in that situation, because we be strategizing. And I mean, I literally have friends like I talk to maybe 2 or 3 times a year. We do a good catch up and let's talk about this now. How should we make these moves and everything? And so that's what we love to do. Thank y'all so much for listening. My ear thing is falling out again, so I'm going to do better on that next time.
Where can they find you on Instagram and all the internet?
Everything. Mine is at Nnete, Nnete. That's just where it is. I'll be putting everything up there and being consistent with it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Consistency is key. Vernique, you can find me at Vernique the Realtor, V as in victory, ERNIQUE the Realtor on Instagram. Yes. It's so nice talking to you, Tay. Hey.
Yes, hey. Likewise, y'all. Thank y'all so much for checking out the Pivot Point.
See y'all.
Ciao.